So, so how does it feel back? After being to Japan today and so on, just being back in the world of heroes, what's the feeling right now? How are your emotions?
Oh, I think we're on a high. We're ecstatic. Especially Hall H Comic Con. This is where we started. Right? We were unknowns. 10 years ago, we put up a pilot here in a smaller room, and through word of mouth and the passion of the fans, we've grown to something that's global, and we're back here, and just be able to come back home. I think that's something that we're very just so over the moon about and just proud of. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Can you talk about your character, the difference from before to today?
Yes. Before, I would say now he's probably added a few pounds. But I would say he's a little bit more mature, because 5 years have passed. He runs a company, and he's seen all the events of what happened with the Evo and the Summit and all that stuff. So I think things have changed for him. But he's not the hardened future hero that we knew him from the original series. That was also 5 years later, but that was an alternate universe that's been thwarted. So you're going to see a mix of kind of a hybrid of the original hero and the future hero. So somewhere between, because you don't see a goatee. When you don't have a goatee, that means he's not hardened. But you saw him wield a double sword. So what does that mean?
In your mind, when you play the hero in the beginning of season 1 was so amazing. It was such a great fan favorite, and it was mainly a lot of it was because he was so relatable and he has so much enthusiasm. But then when you see future hero, he was so just not the same person. How do you kind of differentiate that in your mind? Plus this new version of hero, how do you try to play those two characters and how to separate them from yourself?
To separate them, it's kind of interesting because any character I play, I feel it's an exaggeration of a part of who I am. There's definitely a truth to it. So maybe more, the original hero was more of the childlike innocence in me. Kind of just and kind of focus on that and exaggerate that. And versus future hero was more the pragmatic realist in me. Maybe the more the pessimistic side, the hardened warrior, that exaggerated. So that's how I kind of differentiate the two, and now it's kind of a mix of the two. So it's kind of interesting of how to play. So you just kind of dial in a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and especially with the accents, I kind of make sure innocent hero is 1, future hero is 10. I got to play somewhere between 4 and 5 and play with that, and emotionally and his maturity. There's still things he's going to be excited about because we grow as a character and a human being, but there's certain fundamentals that's not going to change. Guys will be guys, girls will be girls. So I think that's, playing that is the important part. But when you first see Hero in the new Heroes Reborn, the opening scene is very cool. Is all I can say. So it's pretty cool.
So what has he been doing for the last 5 years?
He's been running a company. Yeah.
What kind of company?
Yamagato Industries. He was when we left him at season 4. He ran that company because his father was gone, so he passed away. So he inherited and he's been running that company.
Okay, so success.
Yes. Although I have to say, if you look at the office, there's a scene in the office, and it looks more like a Chinese restaurant, though. So I don't know. Maybe he's added a Chinese restaurant chain to Yamagato Industries.
One of the things I love throughout all the 4 seasons was the relationship between Hiro and Ando.
Yeah.
Now, should fans of that relationship be terrified with the fact that Ando has not been mentioned once, in the end of the day?
I don't know. I really don't know because Ando hasn't been back, and I've already finished shooting all my scenes, so I have no idea what's happening.
Scaring me.
I don't know. I really don't know because I haven't read all the scripts, so.
Who is Hero interacting with at this point?
Hero interacts with a lot of the old characters. I would say 50% of the old cast who's returning, Hero interacts with, and some new characters as well. Hero has a special bond with one of the newer characters, a really close bond, but it's not the obvious one. That's all I can say.
What brings him back into the world?
What brings him back? He gets brought back because anytime there's a trauma, I think Hero has been wary about using his powers because of the Evo thing, because he's always been about the moral code, the hero code, and he kind of, it's kind of like the Incredibles. He's been in retirement, but now he's brought back into life and in action due to a series of events or people.
Okay, see how many episodes you're signed on for?
3. I wanted to do more, but contractually I couldn't.
Well, fingers crossed that you get to come out for more.
Well, no, it's all contractual thing. I'm on a wonderful show called Hawaii Five-0 right now, and CBS owns me in terms of content, so I can't get out easily. But no, thanks to their generosity, CBS's and NBC's generosity, they allow me to do 3 episodes. So, and at the end of the day, for me, it's about not Hero's arc. Hero had a great arc and a journey in the original series. For me, it's about passing the torch to the new generation and the new fans. We want the people to find their new fans, new favorites as well. So, Hero for me is it's my way of giving back to the fans, saying thank you. Let me help finish the story. Thanks to Tim, thanks to everybody who was involved, and kind of like open pathways for the new generation. Say, hey, these are all these great other characters. We hope you fall in love with them. Thank you for loving Hero. He'll still be around somewhere. He's not going to die, but he'll be there. Shepherding the new heroes. Be there in spirit. We got to change, right?
Yeah. No, I loved him.
You had to involve. Yeah, I loved him too. But I think if you continued him as he was and had no growth, he would just get maybe a little bit ingratiating because he was so immature, and that he needed to grow as a character, and he wasn't able to grow. So I think it was nice to be able to see him grow a little bit. At the same time, I loved his humor. So that hasn't been lost completely in this iteration of Hero. So but we find a nice sentiment where he's a little bit more, a little more grown up.
Yatta.
There's a Yatta in there, but it's not going to be the the Yatta that we know him as.
Well, I will take anything basically.
So yeah. So but I mean, you saw it on the. I don't know if you saw the clip.
And we saw it.
Oh, the final clip that we showed the Comic-Con folks. He does the Yatta at the end. So.
No, we don't get to see that. We're sticking here.
Oh, sorry. Well, there was a secret clip that was shown where Hero wields a double sword, kind of like Darth Maul, and does a pretty badass fighting sequence. And at the end, he says "Yatta." So, but you will hear some his favorite quotes because this is a love letter, especially when the old characters come back. This is our nod to the old fans and our love letter to them, saying thank you. So you're going to see some favorite and some actions and some maybe like lines that you heard in the past come back again.